that you're recording the meeting. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Record away.
Douglas, it's okay that I'm recording?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Sorry, used to teaching where you have to make every kid say on camera, yes, they agree.
Uh,
Well, it covers me liability wise because if they all commit on camera says they know they're being videotaped, then we can't complain. And I always talk before I do it. But anyway, I've been teaching. I've been teaching at uh, CAD for 12 years now officially. And I've been using CAD for about 15 years. I've been 3D printing for about 6 or 7 years at this point. So tons of experience with it. I've been teaching 3D printing for the same time I've been using it. I teach at Kearsarge Regional High School. I teach a variety of subjects: CAD, programming, um, engineering, robotics, all that type of fun stuff. And my CAD comes in almost all my classes because, except for programming, because we can make stuff on the 3D printers and now laser cutters, and it's just amazing that you can take in the room. Oh, there we go. Come on, yeah, there he is. Hi, Andrew. You're muted currently, Andrew. Just Andrew, can you just quickly either type or okay, can you just type I'm recording the meeting? Is that okay with you? Can you just yep, no problem. I'm just a teacher and I've used to asking for liability reasons, so anyway, Fusion 360 is not the tool I typically use, but it is free to use for makers, and that's why I am teaching with it. I'm used to Inventor's big brother, Autodesk Inventor, which is much more expensive and only slightly more powerful. However, buttons are in the wrong spots for me, so occasionally I will like hunt for buttons. I've also been using Onshape at school recently, and the navigation is slightly different. So occasionally I'll draw stuff with my mouse on the screen by mistake with Fusion. Ignore me when I do that because it's just what my muscle memory is getting messed up from between different CAD programs. Anyway, Fusion 360 is a really powerful CAD tool. It has some of the best machine handling tools, even above Inventor. It does toolpath handling and stuff for CNC machining. I don't know if we have a CNC machine at the shop yet, but if you want to do like CNC routing or CNC machining, Fusion has a built-in processor for building toolpaths, which is software that usually costs $10,000. And it's very good, which impresses me to no end that it handles it. It also natively does 3D printing from it. I've never used it, but you can actually generate 3D printer files directly from it instead of exporting. You can export G code directly from it, which is, again, kind of nuts. I've never used it. I know it's there. So in these 3 classes, we'll be covering a variety of topics. We'll be starting off with the very basics, how to think about CAD, the getting used to moving from 2D to 3D to 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D. We'll get the practice cube as a project that's just sort of getting used to scribbling with shapes, drawing shapes, dimensioning them, extruding, revolving them. If we get comfortable with that today, we'll move into what I call the smile keyring. That will get us the idea from drawing on paper to making something on a computer. And that, to be able to draw something on paper and read to the computer is the way for a long time you should think about things. At some point you'll be able to think in CAD, but that takes about a year or so of using it before you can really design comfortably without drawing a picture first. And even I'll draw pictures occasionally if it's something really weird. But I've been doing CAD for about 15 years, so I tend to sort of jump in at this point. Anyway, when you jump to Fusion 360, Fusion 360 has several levels of project management. The highest level is projects. I've created a new project called Makerspace class. So you should create a new project. You can do that by clicking the new project button and then giving it a name and jumping into it. Just let me know when you're good with that. Or if you need help, please ask. Good. Andrew's there. Doug, Sandra, you all set?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. So I'm just gonna hit home. Your screen should look pretty much like mine does, right? We're all at the same place. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the setup for Fusion 360. Inside of here, all your saved and files will appear. You can have multiple files inside a project. You can have assemblies inside a project. You can have multiple assemblies inside a file. Some of the project management stuff with Fusion 360 can get a little bit complicated. We won't get to multi-part projects till our third class. We will get there so you can sort of see how to build more complex shapes. Up top, we have our toolbar. And under each of these, if there's an arrow, there's more tools underneath it. The UI is also scalable. So if, say, your window is smaller, the number of buttons available will hide more under the menu. If you have a bigger screen, you'll have less stuff hiding under the menu. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So occasionally things won't be exactly where they are on my screen. Over here we have our browser to show us our sketches, our objects, our bodies. And at the bottom we'll have our timeline, which is where every step we do will get stored. That's really useful because the real power of CAD comes back to the fact that after I make something, I can change it really easily after the fact. So the way Fusion typically works is you work from 2D sketches and you pull those to 3D. Then you create a new 2D feature and pull to 3D. So if I was going to say model a soda can, what shape could I start with? What 2D shape?
Rectangle.
I could draw a rectangle and then spin it about the axis. Or what else could I do?
You could do a circle and stack it.
And pull it up. Exactly. So there's two different ways. And is one better than the other? It depends on what you want to do. With Douglas things, we can get all this detail sort of thrown in on the first try and then make it sort of a fancy outline shape and then spin that all at once. Or if we were making Sandra's method would give us a simple model first and then we could build up more complexity over time. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. But let's start off by creating our first sketch. So the button we're going to be using is the Create Sketch button. It has the little plus sign. And if you hover over any button, it will show you more details about that thing. Now, after you start the button, you have to tell it where you're going to place that. And we have three options, really. We have the ZX plane, the XY plane, and the YZ plane. I tend to work on the XY plane. The only downside to working that way is that the 3D printer is going to, when you bring stuff into your 3D printer, it's going to come outside because Fusion thinks the XY plane is your screen and Z is coming out of your screen, whereas your 3D printer thinks the XY is the table and Z is going up. But let's start on the XY plane, and that's this one back here. You should see the cube rotate, the navigation cube, which is right here. Rotate the front. And let me know when you're at that. Let me know if you have a problem getting to this view.
Hey, Chris, I didn't get the same thing when you hit create.
The sketch?
Can you back up 1 second?
Yep,
You said click on
Create sketch.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a separate monitor, so I'm sharing tiny screens here. But,
Okay.
okay. Oh, okay. Click that. Okay, got it now.
And then I'm gonna pick this view, this side. So I'm looking at the front of the cube.
Okay.
And Doug, you know about Alt Tab, right?
Yep.
That you can switch between two windows very quickly with Alt Tab. So on my hit Alt Tab, you can. So the Alt key is right next to your space bar, and Tab should be over the left hand side. If you hold Alt,
yeah, I'm actually
tab.
I'm on a Mac, so there's no.
Oh, Command Tab. Nope,
Command.
Tab
Okay,
then.
got it.
Sorry, I apologize.
No. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Just it might make it easier so you can get back and forth without fighting with your mouse. All right. Are you using a mouse, Doug, or are you using the trackpad?
Mouse.
Okay, good. That will make life a lot easier. Using pad with a trackpad is one level of hell. It works, but it's awful. You might. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go and click the line tool. That's the first tool to the left next to the design button. And that's going to give us our little crosshairs. Now, I always try to start my designs or build my designs around the origin. So we're going to click on the very center of the origin of this thing. That's where the red and green lines intersect. And now I have a line attached to my point. So I click down and I release my mouse. Notice my finger is not on the button, but I can still move around. So basically in CAD, place points. And I'm going to move straight out to the right. And I'm going to place a point. I'm not going to worry about how big the square is. I'm just going to place a point. And it's going to create another line. I'm then going to create my second point vertical to my first point. It's going to sort of snap and create. I'm going to snap back over my first point. So I'm coming back around, making a reverse C. And I'm going to come back to my first point. And no, there's no more lines that's coming out of it because I have a closed shape. Does everyone have a square? Or a rectangle? Or
I have a rectangle.
good.
Chris, I had a rectangle, but it didn't move like yours did.
You want to share your screen quickly and so I can take a look at what yours looks like?
Yeah. Let's see.
It's under the present button. It's going to ask to take control, and that's fine.
All right, can you see that now?
Yep, I see what you have. So let's just give yourself some more space. We can actually hide that left-hand panel by hitting the X. Yep.
That helps.
There you go. All right, so let's go to the line tool. Oh, you have to click under solid, under left. Nope. So, okay, I see what you're doing. On the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner of your screen, there's a thing sort of like a J on its side.
Yeah.
Click that. Okay. That's the line tool. Now we're going to click on the origin. And now go straight over to the side. Click. Now go up. You don't have to click once. So go straight up. So it's vertical. It'll snap. Okay. Hit escape. Hit escape. The escape key will stop us from doing anything. Okay. So let's Control Z twice. Oh, Command Z. I'm sorry. Command Z twice.
Okay. There we go.
Again. Okay. So let's go to the line tool again. Because escape got us out of the line tool. So to reselect the line tool. No, we have to go back to the line tool. The sideways J. Yep. There. Now click on. Yeah, click. Click once, down, up. Now go straight up. Click down, up.
Oh.
Click. Now go to the side. No, not click and hold. Click, let go. Hit escape. Control Z. It's okay. Go to the line tool again.
Yeah.
Every time you hit escape, it gets you out of the tool. So go back to the line tool. Now, the trick is you can't click and drag. You click, down, up. Move your mouse, down, up. So click. Now move it straight over to the side. Click, down, up. Now come back to the origin again. All the way down, up. Good. And the reason that's exactly the reason why I do this exercise with the line tool instead of using the rectangle tool. Every tool in CAD is click, release, There are some tools down to sort of like the click and drag, like the tangent arc tool is attached to click and drag, which is good to know, but it can cause problems. So that's why I draw this rectangle exactly the way I did. Is you're not the first person, nor will you be the last person to have a problem with drawing the lines initially, because it's not anything you've dealt with. If you've dealt with like art programs, they're click, drag, release, not click up, down, or down, up, click, down, up.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about navigating this space. I'm not sure on Doug on yours, but if you have a mouse wheel, if you push down on the mouse wheel, we can pan and move around. If we push down on the mouse wheel, which is middle click, you can drag. I'm not sure what yours will be.
I didn't know my middle button pushed down.
Does it?
Yes.
Good, good. We can also zoom in and out by using the mouse wheel. Now, the zoom follows your mouse cursor. So if you're right over your shape, that will be the center. But if I'm over here and I zoom, it's going to zoom over here. Lost.
Got it.
If you click on the front of the navigation cube, it will recenter. Oh, sorry. It's got a line tool. And then click on the front of the cube, and it should recenter itself. Really? Okay. If you get lost, sorry, this is where Inventor and Fusion are slightly different. If you get lost, if you navigate over the navigation cube and click the little house, it will bring you back to your home view. If you click front, it will rotate you back so you're looking at your thing. Now, if I look at this square, you'll notice that two sides, this bottom and this left side, are black, but the right side and top are blue. I'm going to make sure I'm not in a tool. I'm going to hit escape to make sure I'm not in a tool. If I grab this point, I can move this around. But if I grab like this point here, I can only move up and down. I can't move left and right. Same with this point here. I can only move it back and forth, but not up and down. And the reason I can move those is because this line and this line are locked. They're constrained because they're tied to the axis, and it guessed that one of the right angles. Whereas the two blue lines are unconstrained. It knows they're right angles, but doesn't know how big they are. Comfortable with moving around and where we are?
Yep.
All right. So if I'm going to 3D print something, I can make things any size in CAD, and I don't know how big they are until I dimension them. They do give you the rulers on the sides of Fusion to give you an idea of how big you are, but really, I need to set a size. So what we do is we're going to set dimensions, and that's this goalpost button right here. Also notice if there's a little parentheses D. That means if you press the D key, it will automatically bring up that tool. So now we're going to dimension. So dimensioning works sort of like drawing a line. We're going to click on what we want to dimension, and then click to place the dimension. So I would watch first, and then I'll undo it. I'm going to click on this line, then click again to place it and edit it. So dimension tool, click on the line, drag up, click again. And I'm going to set that to 1. Now, the only thing that's not locked down is the blue line, is the top. So I'm going to click on the left or right side, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to click and make that also 1. At this point, the square is black. Let me know if you have a problem with this point.
Chris, my thing doesn't look like yours. I don't actually have like the line showing from end to end. I do have a measurement.
Yeah, can you show me your screen so I can take a look?
Can you talk me through that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. In the meat, on the meat view, there is the button on the bottom left-hand corner. There's raise hand, turn captions, and then you are present. Click on the present button.
Okay.
It's going to ask you to share screen. It's going to ask which one. Share the one with Fusion on it. Otherwise, I can't see it. And then click share once it pops up. So it's going to pop up a little window asking which one.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So
Aha. Okay. So I know part of the problem. We will fix that. I have to look how to fix that.
Should I give you
you-
your screen back?
No. It's fine. So hit escape right now, just so I'm out of whatever tool you're in.
Okay.
The escape key is your best friend in CAD. Okay. What happened is you click twice in line really close together.
Okay.
So hit escape. So you're outside the tool.
Okay.
Hit the escape. Yep. And now click on that 53.479
Okay.
and just drag it. Click and drag. There you go.
Thank you.
And you're gonna do 50 do 25 instead of 1.
Okay.
You're in millimeters, and I don't know how to change the units in Fusion off the top of my head.
Okay. Well,
How do you,
So just do what?
I was going to say, how do you change that number?
Double click on that number now.
Double click.
okay.
Yep. Yep. It lets you edit it when you create it, but if you need to fix it after, you double click. Enter.
Okay.
Yep. And hit enter. Yep. And then do the same for the side. I'm going to quickly jump over to a web browser and just Google how to change units.
Yeah, John has a subscription, so I'm actually in his Fusion 360, so he probably has settings
Oh,
that
that's
I may
really
have to monkey with.
actually it's really easy. It's really easy.
Okay.
So I'm going to take over presenting, and I'll show you. I'm presenting. Okay. So if you go up to the top left-hand corner, there's a little drop down. There's a little arrow here. It says Document Settings. Click on the little arrow next to Document Settings. Upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
And it should say Units. It should say In. If we click on the little arrow, little pencil next to that, we should be able to pick. You should be able to change that to inch.
There you go.
And now you have to resize your thing because it's probably like 0.99 or something like that.
Chris, they don't teach metric in schools? Everything's still...
No, I use both. Okay, depends on what I'm doing. But my brain, I use metric hardware as default because I have a bunch of metric hardware left over from my 3D printer builds. I think in English, unfortunately. My brain I'm stuck. I can convert back and forth. That's why I told Sandra to do 25. She could have done 25.4 and had it dead on. But I figured if we were gonna live with metric for today, then I don't want to have to deal with silly units the whole time. All right, so we have our square. Now, let's say I try to dimension a little more. So take a look at my screen. Don't follow along. And I try to dimension this side. An angry message says, adding this dimension will over-constrain the sketch. Choose OK to create a driven dimension. What the heck does that mean? Well, when I drew my square, I snapped at right angles, right? If everything's a right angle, and this side's 1 and this side's 1, there's no way this side could be anything but 1. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I can get a driven dimension, but I can't edit that number. I'm not allowed to. But if I edit this number, again, I'll just watch, not follow along. That will automatically change to follow it. All right. Once my sketch is black, that means I have a fully constrained sketch. That is what I'm looking for before I move on anytime I'm drawing stuff. Black is good. We like black. And it's funny, all CAD packages, black is the happy color. All right, so we have our sketch done. It's black. I'm going to click the big green happy finish sketch button in the upper right-hand corner.
Now, Chris, before I do that, so I guess my rectangle is living in a different plane than everybody else's. The cube in the upper right-hand corner says that I'm looking at the right side and not the front. Is that going to matter for this exercise?
No, it just means when we make some changes, it's going to be in the way. It actually doesn't matter at all. You can build the whole thing in any direction. Occasionally, it will mess with your horizontal and vertical constraints, but because they're both under the same button for Fusion, it shouldn't actually cause a problem. So I now have a floating rectangle. I need to pull that into 3 dimensions. I'm going to do that by using the Extrude tool, and that's going to be right next to the Sketch tool. And there's a text area. I can grab the arrow, but I don't do that. That's not how I think. I like numbers. So I type the number. I'm going to type 1 and a big gray cube.
Could you hover over where Extrude is in the menu bar?
Yep. It's right next to the Sketch tool. You have to finish your sketch first. And then Extrude is right next to your Create Sketch tool.
Ah, okay.
It's not there. It could be under Create, and everything's under Create, under the Create menu. So remember, these buttons can go away sometimes. If they are hiding, you can click Create, and it's all hiding there. We can hide our files now. We'll give us more stuff. Everyone have a cube, or does anyone need more time or any help?
I have a cube. It doesn't have a grid background.
It doesn't.
No.
It shouldn't really matter. The grid's just there to show you that it exists. It shouldn't affect anything.
Okay.
If the next thing has problems, then we'll go back and I'll take a look at your thing and take a look. But because you're running a pro account with custom settings, I don't want to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
So I downloaded this ages past, and I couldn't come up with a way of telling AutoCAD, oh, come on, I only used 2 of the 30 days.
That's all right. You should be able to use it without a 30-day trial. You should be used as the hobbyist license.
Okay, I'll try to get that done before the next class.
No worries. I can always help you with it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a hole in the top of our cube. So we're not going to use the hole tool. The hole tool does not do what you think it does. It kind of does, but it's not the best way of doing things. And more importantly, it's not going to teach us the skills we need for the rest of the stuff we're doing. So we're going to do this by creating a sketch. So I'm going to click the sketch tool, and this time I'm going to select the top of my cube. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask. I mean, like, this is the downside of remote teaching is I can't see screens. When I'm teaching this lesson back in the before times, I'd be looking around the room to make sure all the screens look like they should look. Trust me, I've seen people break things in such ways that I would not be. I'll judge for it. I'm usually impressed they break badly. So, are you at the square on top, Doug?
No.
Share your screen. Share your screen. Let me take a look.
Chris, I can hear you, but I've lost the screen.
What do you mean?
My Alt tab is not getting back.
Go if you would hold Alt or Command Tab. And look, you can hold Command and Tab several times. You probably opened up a third program or something.
Yeah, it's not opening. Huh.
Well, Chrome's still open because I can talk to you.
Yeah, that's weird, but I mean, just keep going. I'll catch up.
All right. If you have questions, I can always help you another time. But we have our shape, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and draw a circle. So I'm going to click the circle tool, and that is the third one over. And I'm just going the circle. I'm going to draw the center point, drag out, and again to create the size of the circle. I don't care where I place it, as long as I don't click on a line. If I click on a line, it's going to assume that you want that center point on the line. So I'm going to click somewhere. I'm going to drag out. I'm going to make sure I don't click on a line again. I'm just going to click, but I just have a circle in my thing. I can't hear you, Sandra. You're muted.
Sorry, do you have a particular dimension in mind?
We'll set the dimension after. So the way we want to kind of tend to work is I draw my shapes. I then use any geometric constraints, which we'll get to on our next project on the smiley on the face. And then once I've got my geometric, I put my numbers in. So that way I can always change my sizes later. Hey, Doug, now twice. All right. Can you see me now, Doug?
I do, yes.
All right. So I drew my circle. I didn't really worry about where I put it or sizing. I just want to make sure it's inside my thing. So I tend to like to locate my shapes first and then size them. It doesn't matter which order. But there's two things that can move about this circle. I'm going to escape to make sure I'm on a circle. I can move the center point. I can also change the size. I'm going to get the center point locked down first. So I'm going to click the dimension tool, and this time we're going to be doing a difference dimension. So I'm going to be clicking. I'm going to put the side of my square and then the center point. And I'm going to move my mouse out. And this time it's in the third click to put the dimension somewhere. It doesn't matter where I put it. I just like pulling it aside. I'm going to do 0.5. So now this circle can only move up and down. You can't move left and right. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to dimension, but this time I'm going to go to the top or bottom. And then, so it's top or bottom, center point, over to the side. If I do that in the other order, it doesn't matter which order I do. I can do center point, side, or side, center point. At that point, the center point should turn black. Unfortunately, Fusion doesn't allow for relational dimensions as easily as other tools, so I was going to do a thing with relational dimensions, but we're not going to bother. So now that I have that located, I need a third dimension to say how big the circle is. So I'm going to click on the circle. I'm going to make it 0.5. That's I like the number. And my circle should be black. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask, because we're just learning. It's easy to get yourself messed up. I always hit escape when I finish a tool because it's so easy to by mistake click on something once you're. Everyone with a circle black, turn black. Andrew, I assume you mean K. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Y for yes. Okay. Never. That makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah, I wonder if I'm running into a setting problem again. It doesn't want me to leave the circle behind and move on to use the dimension tool until I tell it the dimension of the circle. I've now started from scratch 3 times and redrawn this circle.
You can just type in the size. I'll do 0.5 for the circle size. So
okay.
If it does that, yeah, Fusion has occasionally. I think it probably wants to dimension as you go. It's probably a setting. I don't want to change people's account settings, so I don't want to.
Okay.
So if it does, you can. I think you can. I'd have to see it to tell you, but I think you can probably skip past it if you just click somewhere. But you can also always put a number in there and change it after the fact, which is nice.
Okay, so now I have a circle set with a dimension of 0.5. But I'm wondering how I can duplicate the thing you did with giving it constraints, or can I not because I'm locked in now?
No, you're good. It should your circle, the center point of the until it's black, you can still add. So I'm gonna put. I'm now. Mine should look sort of like yours, right? Your circle's still blue, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So now what we're gonna do is you're gonna click the dimension tool. And you're gonna click either the center or the side first. Doesn't matter. So I'm gonna click center, then top, and then move out. And I'll set the side to 0.5. The same thing. Where I click on the center, click on the side, and then drag new 0.5. Your whole thing will turn black at once instead of just the center point. Is it working, center?
I'm afraid not.
All right, let's share your screen. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Because once I see you doing it, I'll know exactly what's wrong. And
Okay, yeah, so for starters, I seem to have created 2 circles and I'm having trouble getting one to go away.
Okay, so we're gonna hit escape to make sure we're out of tool. And you're gonna click on click on the outer circle.
Okay.
And then click the delete or backspace key.
All right.
Good. All right, why don't you zoom in a little bit so you can see a little more, so it's a little bigger, because that way. And you want yep, perfect. Now we're gonna click dimension, and we're gonna click on the top of the square, and now click on the center of the circle, and now move your mouse out to the side. Doesn't really matter where. Click. Type 0.5. It might already be 0.5, but good. Now let's do the same thing. Let's click on the center of the circle, and click on one of the sides of the square. Not the top or bottom. Yep. Click. Now move up. Yep, that's fine. 0.5. There you go. And yours, it's fine. It's just that your circle, instead of dragging up, you went to the side. It doesn't really matter. You can see the line. It's black, and we're happy.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So our sketch is black. That means we're good. So we're going to finish the sketch. And now we're going to pick the extrude button again. Now, this time we have to tell who we're going to work on. So we're going to click on the circle. So I can select the circle, or I can select everything not the circle. But I'm going to click the circle. And then we have to tell what we're doing to it. So let's start off by going where it says extent type. So it's the 4th item down. I'm going to pick all. And then at the very bottom, there's operation where it says new body. We're going to click the drop down and we're going to pick cut. Now, right now, the arrow is pointing the wrong way. It's pointing up. I need to get rid of, I want to go the other way. So I'm going to click this flip button. And all of a sudden, I should have a red cylinder through the center of my square. So I'm going to escape and do it again. I'm going to click extrude. I'm going to click on the circle. I want to tell it that I'm cutting. I want to tell it that I'm going all the way through, and I want the arrow pointing down through it. One more time. So extrude, circle, all the way through, cut, flip. So everyone, anyone doing it again or anything, or once I'm done, I can hit OK, and it'll cut all the way through. But I'm gonna leave it until you're.
So my OK button is grayed out, so I must have missed a step.
Did you put your mouse over it?
Well, it is now.
Because mine's gray until I have a mouse over it. Is it grayed out when you put your mouse over it?
Okay. The button isn't changing.
Okay. Let's see your screen quickly so I can take a look.
Okay.
Yeah, CAD's a visual medium. I have tried to describe their error. Yep. Let's go to put your mouse over the navigation cube, please. Over top of right hand corner. Top. Yep. Click little house. There's a little house. Just yep. Okay. Hit the flip button. It's halfway down in the extrude dialog. Down. Yeah, click that. There you go. You were trying to cut nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why Inventor, when you say cut, changes the direction of the operation by default. Fusion 360, for some reason, just doesn't. And I don't know why. If it makes you feel better, when I did my prep for the lesson today at 5 p.m., I had to look for a second too. Because I'm like, why is it going the right way? You could have grabbed a stupid arrow and pulled it down, but I don't like the arrows. They're not good. So, again, there's a lot to learn here, and that's why the next thing we're going to do is going to be really good for you guys, and it's something I suggest when you have a chance, play some around with it, and that's why I call this the practice cube. So we're going to hit OK. And now we can click our navigation cube, and we can rotate it around. I can see I got a hole in my cube. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to click back on my house, and we're going to start sort of just playing with this. The goal here is to get comfortable with drawing shapes and getting them locked in place and then doing stuff to them. So I'm going to start a sketch on the side of my cube. It doesn't matter which side, because at this point, we're going to start just playing around with stuff. Under Create, there's a bunch of different shapes. I have rectangles of all sorts. I have arcs. I have polygons. I have ellipses / ovals. I have slots, including like curved slots and stuff like that. I have splines that make cool shapes. I have conic curves. I have text. I have all sorts of different shapes. Let's play with the... which one do I want to play with? Let's do the curve, the 3-point arc slot. This guy's a little complicated, but so that's under Create, under slot, and it's like the fourth one down under slot. Now, if I mouse over that for a moment, it will tell you how you do it. So it says you specify the start and end points of the slot, then specify the third point for the arc center, or enter arc radius, and then specify the slot width, or enter diameter or radius for the slot arcs. So this guy's a little complicated. So watch first and then play with it. And if you feel it's too complicated, we'll try a simpler one. So I'm going to click once. I'm going to click twice. Now I have an arc. I'm going to click a third time. And then I'm going to drag out and click a fourth time. and I have like a smiley face shape. And I didn't worry about anything I did. I just sort of placed stuff. Anyone need help with that? Or do you want me to do a simpler shape?
When I go under create, it's only giving me 3D options.
Oh, did you start a sketch?
I think so. I did create sketch,
Did you click on the side of the shape?
but my cube from before is still there.
Okay, you probably click sketch and make sure you click on the side of the cube first. If it doesn't do it, then share your screen. I'll take a look.
Okay, so we were under slot.
Yep, and then there's under slot, and then I did 3-point arc slot.
Okay.
Yep, you weren't in a 2D sketch. That's what happened.
Okay. Thank you.
So at this point, I need to lock this. I want to make this turn black. I'm not going to really care about anything though. I'm just sort of playing with it. So I'm just going to go to my dimension tool, and I'm going to start throwing numbers at it until it turns black. So I'm going to start by clicking on maybe this center arc here. And I'm going to put a number. It's like I'm going to do 0.3. It doesn't matter. Pick a different number if you want. I don't care. Nothing turned black, so I haven't made any real progress yet. But I'm going to set one radius to 0.3. It doesn't matter what. I'm going to click now on this smaller arc, and I'm going to pick, I don't know, 0.1. Now, I can move this around, and I can change its the shape of it, but I can't change the size of the tube to each other. Like, it's starting to become more of a thing. I see some points. Maybe I should take these points and start locking these 3 points. Maybe that'll help give me space. So I'm going to go to Dimension Tool. I'm going to go from the side to this point here and go out. And I'm going to do 0.5. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the side. And I'm going to go 0.35. Ooh, I've started to get some stuff turning black. Some stuff is turning black. I can still move. If I hit escape, I can still move these two arcs. But nothing else moves. I can't move anything else in and out. And again, the numbers here don't matter at all. My goal is just to lock stuff in place to keep it from moving on me. Maybe this time I'll dimension from this point to this point and do 0.5. Hit escape. Do I call a drag test? Now these will move, but they always move together now automatically. So I'm slowly pinning this shape down until it can't move anymore. Does that make sense? I'm going to do one more from here to here. And I'll go 0.25. And now the whole thing is now black. I can't move any of it. If I escape and try to drag it, it won't move. And all I did is just throw numbers at it until it won't move anymore. I put a dimension on it, saw how it can move it still, put another dimension, see how it can move, put a dimension on until it can't move at all. And the goal here is just getting used to dimensioning things. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, it's just getting used to active dimensioning points and arcs and sizes and stuff like that. Anyone need help with anything? All right. So now, even if my shape's not fully done, if you're not fully done, I just want to show you the last step because we're running out of time. I can probably go a few minutes late, but I don't want to keep you guys past your 7 o'clock. But I'm going to finish my sketch. And now all I'm going to do is I can either pick, I'm going to click Extrude. I'm going to click on that shape. And I'm going to make it go, I'm just going to pick 1. And it's the default operation looks like join. So I'm going to hit OK. And I just have a thing sticking in my cube now. And the whole point of this is now getting just used to sketch, constrain, extrude, sketch, constrain, extrude. What I would like you guys to do, I mean, I'll give a little homework because I guess that's teacher in me, although I don't typically give homework. I want you just to play with, you have 3 more sides of this cube that you can play with easily. Pick some shapes, try locking them down. If you can't get them fully constrained, don't worry about it. But just get used to the process of sketching, constraining, extruding them, okay? We're going to save this as, I'm going to click the little save button. I'm going to call this practice cube. And the save button is the little disk icon right over here. And that will be in, now show up in my Makerspace class project. And if you want to, I'm going to share. I'm going to give it a public link. Chat. And I will send this email out, but I'm going to paste it. And that way you can come in and see what I did. So you have access to this cube. If you want to at some point this, between this class and next class, and you get some stuff done, and you want to show me it, share the link with me, send me an email with the link. Or if you have questions, send me a screenshot with your problem, and I can take a look at it and see if I can answer by email, or we can schedule a time to just quickly take a look at it, okay?
So Chris, your link, that's going somewhere in the AutoCAD cloud where anybody sent it to?
If you click on that, it will open it up in Fusion 360, and you'll be able to see my part and make a copy of it if you wanted to.
'Cause I got asked a question by someone who just joined our Makerspace who wanted to know if he used the hobby level to design something, was his design actually protected? Like from a I intend to patent this kind of view.
You're not supposed to use the hobbyist for commercial uses. So he might hit a licensing bug, licensing trouble with it. He might want to either learn FreeCAD, which is awful and really frustrating to use, or look at investing in and paying for a license, because the hobbyist one is not safe for patenting because you're not supposed to use it. It's not for commercial use.
Okay.
I would not do that. Any other questions for me? Doug, you're muted.
I said, Chris, this is kind of the same thing I was doing the other night, just putting a cube and putting a hole in it. And
that is it's the only thing you probably weren't doing is dimensioning things. So
yes,
focusing on dimensioning, because when we get to 3D printing, we really need to make sure we're locking down sizes. This shape would not be, we'll talk about making shapes for 3D printing our next class. This shape would not be good for 3D printing because we have a massive overhang here. If we print it here, this hole might not print properly. Holes are okay. Sometimes they can print without support. Sometimes they can't. It depends. We'll talk about that when we start doing the smile keyring. But I'm going to assume that you guys are more comfortable with sketch, constrain, extrude, or cut, join or cut, because we're doing that a bunch for the next ones. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to take and end the recording. Good, Andrew. If you can get a mic and or headset hooked up, that'd be great. It's just easier to hear from you if you do.
Yeah, this isn't Andrew's fault, but this is literally what half my board meetings are like in the pandemic.
Really? Wow.
As someone who has to stop recording.